All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Really excited to show you this one. Getting back to a bit more raw content. Over the past few months, been doing sort of flashy edits and things like that, but I wanted to really kick off the new year by giving you guys some real alpha, some real insights into day-to-day work and what the industry and what the market's looking like in terms of outbound. Okay, and I wanted to use this example that we have put together for one of our clients that we helped generate over $250,000 worth of pipeline in less than 10 days in January. Okay, and this is a company that we've worked with that when we started working with them, they had an empty pipeline. They were generating no results from outbound. Okay, so if you are a growth focused B2B leader, then this video is going to be for you, and I hope that you get some really good insights out of it. Now, remember as well, I completely understand it. This is one of the hardest and worst economic downturns of the last half century. Things are not easy out there with the fallout from COVID, with the money printer, being turned down to an all-time low, with wars across the world. There's so many macroeconomic and geopolitical things that are making things very difficult to operate. So I completely understand. I am feeling it myself within my own business, but I wanted to make this video to let you guys know that it's still possible. It's still possible to get the results that you want by leveraging expertise and utilizing AI-driven market research. So here's a screenshot from the campaign that we run. Less than 3,000 contacts, less than 3,000 people that we contacted, decent open rate, could be higher, average response rate, and then 10 opportunities. But because these guys have very high ticket deal size, this is a $250,000 pipeline. So even from a campaign that I would say needs optimization, and we're going to continue to optimize it. This is literally just the launch of a campaign. An average campaign, not that many people contacted, average response rate, average, opportunity rate over here as well. We're still generating over $250,000 worth of pipeline. Okay, so I just want to let you know that it's still possible and that you can do this in today's market by following these steps. Now, I wanted to preface this as well, just following on a little bit more from what I just said there. The B2B landscape really has changed dramatically in the last few months, because what worked in 2022 and 23 does not work anymore. Okay, the predictable revenue model that people were operating on doesn't work, because that only worked because the money printer was at an all-time high. Okay, with tax rebates, with COVID money, everything was booming. It was boom, 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 and people were just throwing money left, right, and center. Okay, but that's just not the case anymore. And while the barrier to entry to launch campaigns like this is getting lower, spam filters are battening down their hatches. They're getting harder and harder and stricter and stricter. You're seeing this with the Google and Yahoo policies that have dropped just this month in February. Prospects are getting swamped with irrelevant spam. The lower the barrier to entry, the more prospects are just getting swamped with irrelevant spam. And also, as I mentioned there, with the market downturn and everything that's going on in the world, the financial teams are tightening their budgets because this international money printer is turning down. It's getting lower and lower and lower, and the amount of capital in markets is getting lower and lower and lower. And I wanted to make this point as well because I think it's super important, okay? Having a lower barrier to entry does not equal easier growth. It means more competition. If anybody can just whack together a campaign, start firing out emails, then that's not a good thing. You want there to be a barrier to entry. But what it does mean is that because things are getting harder, and this is a good thing, right? Less people are going to start to do it because they're not going to get those easy results, because most people are lazy. They don't want to put the effort in. They don't want to get the results. They don't want to have to put the effort in to get the results, okay? But it means that you also need to keep up with the top operators around the world, and you need to do it fast because things are getting harder and harder and harder. But I wanted to use this video as a way to show you how you can do it and give you a case study of how we've done it. So I'm going to walk you through the background of the company, what they look like, the audit, how we did it, how we built everything out for them, and just walk you through step by step the exact processes we took so that you can take that and apply that to your own business. Okay, so to give you a background on the company, it's an SMB generating around 8 figures in revenue every single year. They manufacture turnkey CNC laser machines for funeral homes, monument makers, schools, small printing businesses across the USA. Really cool business, great team, really, really nice people. Now, I was first approached by the founder because he watched one of my YouTube videos, and then he explained the predicament that they were facing. So after trying multiple times to get their outbound campaigns firing successfully, they had hit a wall and they were not generating any results at all. So what I did was run an audit of their outbound and just had a look at what these guys were doing and just see if I could give them any insight and any advice. And just during the discovery call, I asked the founder to let me have a look under the bonnet of the business. And honestly, it didn't shock me because I see this all the time when I'm talking to B2B leaders. I've seen this time and time again across hundreds of small to medium businesses that are trying to execute on cold outbound strategies. And I'll be honest, it was a complete mess, right? And I could see straight away what was causing their issues. So let's take a look at some of the findings, okay? So the first thing I noticed was that there was a huge issue with deliverability. And this is something I see all the time, okay? If you do not focus on deliverability, then your emails are not gonna land in your prospect's inbox and all the effort that you put in is completely wasted. And these guys were sitting at an open rate that was around 12 to 15%, okay? And this is terrible. This is really, really bad. And it's very, very indicative of these two following things. So this is how I've categorized it, okay? They have poor deliverability and they had poor messaging. So let's take a look at them in more detail. So the first one that we're going to look at is poor deliverability. So deliverability is key in outbound marketing. If 9 out of 10 emails you're sending is landing directly into your prospect's spam box, then you not only risk your reputation, but you're risking your domain health, your IP health, you run the risk of blacklisting both permanently. So it's absolutely not to be taken lightly. But why was their deliverability so bad? Well, I've broken it down into 5 core areas. The first one being unverified leads. So the company was sending to massive amounts of unverified leads, meaning that a large percentage were invalid and that they were undeliverable. Okay, this was leading to a super high bounce rate. I had seen in their account some campaigns were having an 88% bounce rate in some cases. This is ridiculous. Anything above sort of 3% I would say is the upper limit for bounce rate. You want to be keeping it below 1% at a healthy level. The next thing I noticed was that they were using weird domain endings, things like .xyz, .info, things like that, okay? So when you're sending cold emails, you should only use .com domains. This increases your reputation twofold, one being in the eyes of the receiver. So if you receive an email from a .com domain, it just instantly looks more trustworthy. Whereas if you receive an email from someone with a .xyz domain, instantly you're thinking, this looks weird, this looks dodgy, spam. Your walls and your barriers are up. Cold email is hard enough. Don't make it hard enough for yourself. Don't make it even more hard for yourself by adding in silly domain endings like that, okay? But it also looks more reputable in the eyes of email service providers, especially if you're sending lots of cold emails. The biggest companies in the world are running on .com domains, so utilize .com domains for your cold email domains, okay? The next thing is that they were using generic sending accounts, things like sales at, okay? So generic email accounts are bad for, again, 2 reasons. The first one, okay, is that, this looks low effort in the eyes of your prospect. Think about this from yourself. Everything that you do with cold email, you should think about, how would I feel if I received it? If I received an email from sales at without a person's name, anything like that, I just think this is the most laziest, low effort thing I have ever seen, right? You do not want to be doing this at all. Okay, it's low effort, it's lazy, and once again, barriers are going up straight away. Secondly, you remove any chance of making any personal connection with the prospects. If you're reaching out with your name, they may have seen you on LinkedIn, they may have seen you on YouTube, like what you're watching right now, or a video that you've seen from me, then they might have a better chance of creating a personal connection with you. People are more likely to remember you than they are to remember your business, okay? So reach out with a name, a person, a name, and have a profile picture as well so it looks real. And also, something that people don't really consider is that they're super easy to filter out of the inbox. People don't create filters for names because you could have someone in your company with a name. But if it's a sales at email, you can super easily set up a filter on Google or Microsoft or whatever provider you're using to filter out sales at, info at, all of that crap that you'd be utilizing to send cold emails. Okay. The next thing is that links in the cold email. Okay, so I think links are generally a no-go for cold email. They scream spam. They're often caught in sort of anti-phishing filters set up by IT departments. So ask yourself this once again. I'm going to keep repeating this. When you're sending cold email campaigns, put yourself in the shoes of your prospect. Okay, become your prospect. You want to almost have a stalkerish idea of who your prospect is. Imagine that you're them and you receive a random email from a person that you've never spoken to, okay? You've never heard of them before, and they're sending you a link. What is the chances that you're going to click on that link? Very, very low, okay? And my guess is never. And if you do click on random links in your emails, then that's sort of indicative of your mental state, okay? You should not be doing that. You should absolutely not be doing that, okay? And it just lands you in spam. It's a bad idea. Send your cold emails, plain text. You don't need to track open rates, anything like that. Plain text, no HTML, no silly, no silly signatures or links or pictures or anything like that. Just send a cold email that's plain text, okay? The final thing as well, and this is something that I'd never really seen before because it was crazy, is that not matching the email signatures with their sending accounts. So if the email you're using to send cold emails is, say for example, my email, tom@advancedclient.io, probably going to regret giving that out. Don't under any circumstances sign off the email as Louis, my co-founder, okay? This should be super simple, but just don't do it. You're going to fall in spam, people are not going to trust you, and it just looks dodgy straight away. You're just giving yourself the worst chance possible to get your offer in front of as many people as possible. So don't do this. Now, the second area that I talked about was poor messaging. So they had really, really poor messaging. So once you know that your emails are landing in the inbox, this is the first thing you should focus on. You can safely focus on messaging because messaging is the only lever that you can pull in order to turn prospects into customers. Okay, but from my experience, again, speaking to hundreds of businesses, SMBs, large companies, enterprise, whoever it is, okay, startups, whoever they are, people are still sending messages like it's 1995, causing incredibly poor outbound results and their distrust in cold email. Most people don't trust cold email as a source of generating predictable leads because they don't know how to do it properly themselves. Okay, this is where a lot of the distrust is coming from. So why was their messaging so poor? Well, the first reason is that they weren't addressing pain points. So if you aren't addressing pain points in your messaging, then you likely have a fundamental problem with your business because you don't know the core reasons why people buy your solution. If you don't know why people buy your solution, then you have a fundamental problem with your business because you don't know who your customers are and you can't target them. So I would definitely focus on that, okay? The next thing is pitch slapping, okay? And I wrote here, it's just like the cousin, bitch slapping. It's just as painful for the receiver. Unless you have an offer that is completely irresistible, as in it's been proven, and you're sending it to a blue ocean market or an industry that, it's almost impossible for them to say no to, then you're getting a one-way ticket to the spam box. So in 99.9% of cases, I do not recommend pitch slapping. In the 1% of cases where it's worth it, go for it. Happy days, fire it out. But it's likely if you're watching this, you're not in that situation, so don't do it, okay? The next thing is asking for a call. So, if your prospect took every single person in their inbox up on the offer of a 15-minute intro, they'd probably be sat on calls till the moment that they just keeled over and died, okay? So do not do this. Nobody wants to jump on your 15-minute call. The goal of your cold emails should be to elicit a positive response. You should be providing them value in a way that indicates to you that they would be interested in buying your services. When you have that indication, when you provided them value, then you can push them towards a call. But don't do that in the first email, okay? And the final one here, this is similar to what happened in the deliverability section that I covered. And this is telling prospects to click on the link to find out more. Don't do this. It's bad. No one likes to be told what to do. It looks spammy. It looks dodgy. It looks like those, horrible spam emails from Nigeria that you get telling you that your DPD parcel is missing and you just have to pay £2.50 to find out about it. Don't fall for it. Don't do this. It's not a good idea. Okay? So now, the first part of this report that I did and that I wrote here covered everything that they did wrong. Okay, so I did this so that you could use it as a checklist for your campaigns before they even go live. So by avoiding these mistakes like the ones I listed above, you set yourself apart from 95% of business owners who get it wrong. So now we're going to look at the fun part, okay? And this is the steps that we took to take them from crashing and burning off a cliff with a cold email wreck to cruising at 40,000 feet in an outbound jet, okay? Sounds fancy, but it honestly is true. So the first thing that we did, and this is step one, is infrastructure. So the current setup that this client had, it just wasn't salvageable. So we burned it all to the ground, we got rid of it, and we started again. Their domains were a mess, the records weren't aligned, the reputations were in a bin, it wasn't even worth trying to salvage, okay? So the first thing that we did was to purchase 20 brand new, fresh .com domains. So all these domains then went through our thorough setup process. This includes the addition of all the important records like the DNS records, the SPF, DMARCs, DKIM. Once the technical setup was completed, they were all forwarded to the main landing page so that if anyone searched up the secondary domain, it would just forward them to the main landing page. So there'd be no error 404 page or anything dodgy like that. They were getting all the information that they required, okay? So once we built out the infrastructure, the next step was warming. So if you're brand new to cold email, or if you are brand new to this sort of process, then you won't know that domains need warming. They do need warming before you launch cold email campaigns. And this is to build the reputation of the domains with email service providers to ensure that all the emails you send as part of campaigns land in your prospect's inbox. Okay, so the warming process usually takes around 2 weeks before it's safe to begin campaigns, and we use instantly.ai to warm the domains. So it's a super simple process. You add the email accounts and the domains to Instantly, you click warm, and you leave it for 2 weeks. You set a reminder on your phone for 2 weeks time to ensure that you guys know when to launch the campaigns, and you do not launch campaigns before that 2 week period. If you want to be safe, do 3 weeks, okay? 2 weeks I'd say is fine. If you want to be super safe, do 3 weeks. Okay, now this is good because that gives you a couple of weeks to get everything else done. And if this is your first time doing it, or you've never done this before, whatever it is, then you're probably going to need a few weeks to do it. We can get this done in a couple of days maximum, but most people it will take a few days to do, a few weeks to get this fully sorted. So the next step, once everything has been built out, the infrastructure, the warming, happy days, we know that deliverability is going to be sorted. We then stepped into the next side of the process, and this is where we begin our research, okay? So this is not a quick process. It requires a lot of data reviewing, reading, searching, researching, and honestly, it's one of the top levers we pull at this stage is utilizing AI. And this is not just blanket going on ChatGPT and going, how do I write a cold email to target, da, 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 da. Don't do that. This is terrible, okay? What it is great at is compiling data and building out and utilizing data to create a certain scenario, okay? So what we do is we do a lot of research. We do things like call reviews on previous calls the client has taken. We look at their wins, their losses, what customers are saying about them. We look at their reviews. We look at all the things that would give us a better idea of why people are purchasing what these guys are selling in the first place, okay? And then what we do is we feed all of this information into ChatGPT, and we build our custom prompts in order to give us the information that we require, okay? So this builds out a comprehensive report that gets us into the mind of our desired prospects. So everything from pain points for individual job titles and personas to insights into the exact way the solution that we are promoting via cold email solves the prospect's pain points. What I like to do is say, give me 3 pain points, 3 core pain points, like real pain points that this persona faces, okay? And then tell me exactly how my solution solves those pain points. So then you've got 3 angles straight away. It's really, really important. So this document is completely invaluable to the process, and it's used as the foundation for all the messaging. Here's a blurred view of what we did for this company. It was a 3-page document. This is the first page. Super, super important. This is invaluable. People pay thousands and thousands of pounds to have this sort of research done, but we do it as part of our service, okay? The next step is leads. Now, this is super important as well because we all know that sales is a numbers game. The more eyes that you get on your business, and the more eyes you get your business in front of, I should say, the higher chance you have of generating new clients. So for this project, we put together a list of 4,000 leads split into 3 different personas. These were monument builders / funeral homes, schools, and signage. So straight away from seeing that, you know that these are very, very different personas. A funeral home and a school couldn't be further apart from their needs, their wants, their desires, and what we're offering to them. But it's the same product we're offering to them, but it's different pain points we're targeting. So hope that lets you know why this research report was so important. Okay, now these are very tricky businesses to pin down using conventional databases, okay? And with the filtering, say if you're using LinkedIn Sales Navigator or Apollo, they're quite weird and quite hard to actually pin these down. So knowing this, we utilize clay.com and we utilize the lookalike builder in Clay. This is a super powerful tool. If you do have a bit of a strange market to target, then I recommend, leveraging a tool like Clay, okay? So this tool takes either examples of websites that you want to build the list to look like, or a written description of the type of companies you're looking for. So what I did was ask the client that we were building this system for to give us examples of each of the persona that they'd either worked with or want to work with, around 3 to 5 websites for each one. What I then did was I put that into Clay and built out a lookalike audience, and then I added on extra filters there as well, just to make sure that everything was correct. So knowing that it was in the USA, certain company sizes, etc. And what that allowed us to do was build these lists of companies. Okay, so now we had lists of companies that we would like to target, and to target them, we're going to need to enrich them with data. So we uploaded all of these lead lists into Find Email, and then for each of the company databases that we generated, obviously we have these personas. We then need to find people within those companies that we want to target. So again, during the research report, this is why the research report is so important to the next steps that we're doing, to these steps right here. We knew what targets and what job roles within each of those personas we need to target. So within a funeral home and a school, we're not going to be targeting the same people. Okay, within a funeral home, you probably have the director of funeral services. Within schools, you're going to be targeting the principal, or the head of whatever it is, design technology we have over here in the UK. We built out a whole bunch with 3 actually for each of these personas, job titles that we wanted to target. Okay, so once we had these, uploaded these lists, we'd enriched the companies for the people that we were looking for. We had, targeted accurate data for the people that we wanted to target. Then we needed to clean and verify the leads. Okay, so you do not want to just enrich and then start sending, because there's always going to be an error of margin within these. So you want to clean them and you want to verify them. So to verify them, we use neverbounce.com. So we uploaded the leads to Neverbounce, and then we put those leads into Neverbounce. It cleaned them and it told us which leads were deliverable, which leads were not deliverable, and then there were some other leads as well that were accept all or unknown. Okay, so we only use the deliverable leads to ensure the maximum deliverability for campaigns so that things aren't bouncing and just bad vibes in general. All right. Now, the next thing we did was use clay.com to clean the leads. Super simple. What I mean by cleaning the leads is looking at data. So for example, if their company name is company LLC, then we're going to clean it to just have company name, because we don't want to be sending this as a bit of data within our cold emails and it just looks bad. Okay, we want it to be clean. We want it to look natural. We want it to look like it's written in. Okay, so now we have the leads ready to go. Happy days. The next step is messaging. So again, I'm going to keep bringing this up. The research doc is so invaluable to our process, and I was not lying about this. So using this doc and the personas that we were targeting, we were able to create a formula. And the formula for the cold emails that we use pretty much for all of our campaigns is intro, and this is just hey, first name, a pain point question, so addressing something that this prospect is going through and that we verified that they're going through, the offer and the case study. So what do you do? What's the actual thing that you do in your offer? And what's a case study that's relatable? So showing, for example, if we're targeting a school, then we're going to show other schools that we've helped. If we're targeting a funeral home, we're going to show them other funeral homes that we've helped. Signage companies, we're going to show them signage companies that we've helped. But you don't want to swap these around. You don't want to show schools, funeral homes, and funeral home schools. That just won't work. They have to be relevant case studies, okay? Then a soft call to action, typically, here's some more information. Can I send you over a deck that I produced? Can I send you over X, Y, and Z? Something very low friction that they don't need to put effort into, okay? And something that is valuable to them and that they can easily say yes to, okay? And then a quick sign off, goodbye. That's it, super simple, okay? And then what we did was we subbed the research into the formula, creating targeted pain points, offers, and case studies for each persona, okay? So now we had 3 campaigns each with 3 emails in each campaign split across about 3 weeks. So that, along with a super simple subject line, honestly, don't think about your subject line too much. Super simple, one word, lowercase. We were ready to go. We were ready to launch the campaign. Okay. So once the domains were warmed up, after that 2-week period, the little alarm bell went off on my phone, so I knew it was time to launch the campaigns. We began the campaigns, and the system that we had set up allowed for a maximum of 1,000 cold emails sent every single day. However, we scale things up really slowly. We like to keep things with as much longevity as possible. We don't want to just burn domains straight away. We want our prospects and our clients to have systems that last them for years. Okay, so we scale things up nice and slowly. We began each campaign with 20 emails per domain per day, and then what we do is every week we scale it by 5. So even at a lower volume than max capacity, we were able to quickly generate 10 qualified sales opportunities in less than 10 days, and this again was worth a whopping $250,000 in pipeline for this client. Super powerful. So why does this all work? You know, everything that I've mentioned here, this case study breaking down everything for this client that we built the system for, why does it actually work? Well, let me give you a sort of conclusion of why everything works and my philosophy on this, okay? So this client saw great success because we focused on the fundamentals that they did not have the time, energy, or expertise to execute on, okay? I don't have a clue about lasers. I couldn't build a laser. I couldn't manufacture a laser. I don't have the first idea about it, okay? But I don't pretend to. What I do know is how to build outbound systems. What I do know is how to run cold email campaigns. What I do know is how to get into the mind of a buyer, okay? And that's what makes me an expert at what I do. So, success with cold outbound does not come from firing from the hip. It comes from following the fundamental rules, building the foundations, intense research, leveraging AI, applying psychological principles to your messaging, and lots more, right? There's so many factors involved in it. It is absolutely not an easy process to execute on, okay? And it requires a lot of time and attention to get right. But when you execute it correctly, as you've seen throughout this document, how to go from not executing it properly to executing it properly, the results can literally change the trajectory of your business forever, okay? And this is within the first 10 days of launching the campaign. First 10 days. Imagine what this is going to look like 3, 5, 6, 10, 12 months in the future, years in the future, okay? This is a business changing trajectory system, okay? We're going to change the trajectory of your business with systems like this, okay? Now, this was written by me. This is videos by me, Tom Granger. You can connect with me on LinkedIn if you want to find out some more insights. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. I think this video is going to go on both of those for more insights into B2B revenue strategies and how to build systems like this and what to look for and everything that you're going to need to know. If you're interested in finding out about working with us, then we have a wait list that you can join. There will be a link somewhere around this video. So click on that, book a time, you can have a chat with myself, and we'll see if there's a scope for us to work together. But if not, that's fine. I hope you took a lot of insight from this, and I want you to apply this to your business and get really great results, because that's what I care about. Creating great results and having an impact. So yeah, hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for watching, and hopefully we speak very soon.